Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a timey-wimey version, edition, issue, if you will, of the Hops Geek News, a podcast where we discuss pop culture, essentially. We talk about comic books, we talk about movies, we talk about beer, we talk about pretty much everything. You can find us on Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube. Just search Hops News, subscribe, like, share. That's how we help the podcast grow. And I'm one of your two co-hosts. I am Mash. Alongside me is the Hoppy Mommy. Hoppy, what is happening? What are you drinking on this lovely pre-Thanksgiving night?
I am drinking a little space metal dinosaur because
Holy shit.
dinosaurs on a spaceship
That
from
can't off
Lone
of
Pine
Lone
Brewing.
Pine. It's
Hell
funny is
yeah.
I think I saw that actually because they've been
And
distributing
didn't
Lone
buy it.
Pine. I didn't buy it, but had I known you would have busted it out, I would have grabbed it.
Okay, what's funny is it says space metal dinosaur. So, there's teeny tiny guitars and teeny tiny triceratops. And I'm sure they meant like heavy metal music. But to me, I'm thinking, well, the guitars for the 12th Doctor.
Oh, I'm
And
thinking
then the
like
dinosaurs are for
drugs.
the 11th Doctor. But yeah, they're probably
Oh
going more
man.
for like heavy metal. But I mean, yeah, anybody who's had Lone Palm knows that they're I've only had their IPAs, but everyone I've had has been top notch.
Oh,
So
they're wicked good. They're out of Maine. For those of you who don't know who Lone Pine is, they're now distributing across the US, I guess, because I
yeah,
got it here in Idaho. So yeah, they're wicked good. You might know them for their OJ, which is like orange juice
yes, that's a
IPA in a
great one.
can, basically. Really, really good. Um, I have here from Barbarian Brewing. It's called Big Bad Wolf. But Bad Wolf, hello.
Bad
Doctor
Wolf.
Who, hello. It's
Wee.
an Imperial IPA coming in at 8.1%. It's dry hopped. It has Eldorado, Mosaic, Centennial, and Chinook hops in it. It's a little dark. This is kind of what they used to look like, according to you. As I drink out of my Bissell Brothers glass. Shout out to them as well. Really good beer. I went to their brewery, had a beer for the first time yesterday. I've always wanted to go there because their beers are great. I believe that you have the
The
Odin.
Ragnarok.
Oh, the Ragnarok. That's what you have. Ragnarok. Um, I have the Maple Bar Stout in my fridge and the bottles that they sell. Their beer is really good. They have like 24 beers on tap, and they do a lot of like sours to IPAs to like crazy stouts. I had a German chocolate cake stout yesterday
Oh,
that tasted just like German chocolate cake, and it was fantastic. Like it was a little obviously your imperial stout, but kind of on the back end you got that coconutty flavor that you get with a German chocolate cake. So it was wicked good. And then yeah, this Big Bad Wolf, it's kind of like your traditional, it's your palate cleanser IPA coming. We're finishing up our Hops News podcast, so I've had a couple beers by now, and this one definitely cleanses the palate. And I have another one on deck. I think I have something from Wormtown. It might be the pumpkin patch.
I only had one beer during Hops News, but it was a bourbon barrel aged
Yeah, you have like a
hazelnut stout.
massive
So,
stout.
but I'm okay. I'm
As
good.
one does.
Well, I guess I like watch or listening to our show later, and it's like a surprise to me if we record after Hops News. Oh, I didn't even remember we talked about that. So it's not just
Yeah,
fun for the audience; it's fun for me
if
too.
we kind of go off the rails because we've actually started recording two podcasts in a night. The first one is Hops News, which is the flagship show for our station, I guess you want to say. And that one we've kind of transformed it more into like a podcasty type thing where we have guests once in a while. Uh, but we had some good beers. I drank a couple beers because it's Thanksgiving week. We're recording this the night before Thanksgiving. Yeah, we ain't got nowhere to go. You ain't got no job. You ain't got no place to be. Um,
Right.
so I had a couple beers, but yeah, we tend to record this after having a beer or two on the Hops News. And so I listen back and I'm like, ooh, God, that's what am I talking about sometimes?
There have been times where I was like, I don't remember this at all.
Like, what are we talking? How do we get to this conversation? Yeah,
But then
we
there
go
are
off the
times that I'm
rails.
impressed at like, huh, wow, I don't remember that. But that doesn't sound I don't sound like I'm trashed.
No,
We're gonna listen
but
back to this one
we
and be
get
like, oh, we were
smarter.
trashed.
Somehow we get smarter a little bit as we drink. Maybe I don't know. I
Right.
I'll take it as that.
Yeah.
Today's episode, the main topic will be obviously Doctor Who Christmas specials because tis the season. Last week we talked about Christmas movies. Now we're going to talk about Doctor Who Christmas specials. First, we got a little bit of news. We have Predator. We're talking Guardians of the Galaxy, Deadpool, Stranger Things. Ready Player 2, Marvel 616, a little beer news for you guys out there, and some Saturday Night Live, and then of course our Doctor Who Christmas special, which is a lot. So first of
Let's
all, we'll
get to
start
it.
off. We'll get to the business. What have you been reading or watching? Because I don't think we made any mistakes last week, right? I mean,
Oh, we were
not that I know.
perfection last week.
For once, yeah. I think if anybody caught last week with Christmas movies, it's hard to make a mistake on Christmas movies because it's all kind of subjective. But you never know. We might have missed something. But yeah, I guess we don't have anything. So we'll start off. What have you been watching, reading? What's happened in the last week or so of your life? Tell us everything
Actually,
down to
haven't
the details.
really read anything. Although I quickly just went to Amazon to order Ready Player 2 because that book is amazing. Okay.
She's out
Well,
here
the first one's amazing.
Amazoning while podcasting. What the hell?
Hey, it's almost Black Friday. Yeah, I've been a slacker
Amazon.
with the reading, but I have I kind of like letting my comic book collection kind of stack a bit because I almost enjoy reading them more when I can read a few back to back.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's nice to be able to, read for 10 minutes and then, get back to dealing with the kids or whatever. It's a nice little quick break. But sometimes it's also nice to kind of let them, read 3 issues at a time and kind of let it stack, do a little bit of binge reading. So I haven't even read my new Oblivion song. And I know I got a couple more. What I'm looking forward to reading, but I actually want to reread some of them, is J.J. Abrams did a Spider-Man. And it came out, I think, last September. It was either August or September 2019. It was a very short run. There were months where he didn't do anything. It might have only been 4 or 5 comics, but it was actually pretty cool because it was about Peter Parker's son. So basically it starts with Mary Jane died in an accident where Spidey was fighting somebody and Spidey lost his arm. And now he's the single father.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
No, it's a good story, though. And I'm not doing any spoilers. Well, I guess I'm spoiling the immediate beginning. But it's about his son, though. He basically dips out and Aunt May's raising this kid. And so it's about this kid kind of discovering some of these things and whatnot.
Peter Parker,
I read the first
how dare you ditch out on your son? First of all, Peter Parker, how dare you?
That's what he thought. I don't know, whatever. But I just got the last one and I want to reread the few older ones from last year. Cause I'm like, okay, I remember what happened, but I don't remember exactly. So I just kind of want to reread all of that. But it was highly recommended by multiple people last year. I remember I was at a beer fest at the end of the night and randomly off on some tangent about comic books with somebody. And he's like, did you read the J.J. Abrams one? It was like, he was like the 3rd person that had told me to read that.
How did I miss
But it was
this?
a very, very, very short. I will reread those, read the last one, and then I will mail them to you. But no, as far as watching, so I did start Marvel 616 with Japanese Spider-Man, but we're going to do a whole episode on that. I think in January.
Man, yeah. First of all, Paul Scheer, he liked my tweet when I was pretty much like, Paul Scheer has been on your TVs for the longest time. You guys don't appreciate him. And this Marvel 616 that he just did, it's like episode 4, I believe. He's on it, and I was basically shout out to Paul Scheer, and he liked the tweet. So no big deal. We're kind of best friends now.
And our podcast is now famous.
Yes.
So obviously I watched the new Mandalorian, and the main thing I watched was the Supernatural finale.
Uh-oh. It's over. It's over.
It's over.
No, wasn't good. No.
15 years is over. Did not love it.
Oh,
most of it, I was like, really? This is what they're doing? What's happening?
Well, how much of that was to COVID, though?
I think some of it was. At the very end, they started to explain things, and I was like, okay, I like that. Okay, I like that. And I want to explain this without spoiling, because it's a 15-year-long show. It's on Netflix. I have friends that are
oh my God,
actively halfway through it. I actually, we've done a shout out to Tracy because she sends us amazing beer. While we were on Hops News, I'm getting texts from her in a group chain. She's like, this show is so clever. She's literally watching Supernatural and sending me things. And then she'll send me like funny gifts. She's like, there was an episode where this guy has like these telekinetic powers, but he's in like a nursing home now and he's kind of lost it, and somebody's using to him to hit to their own advantage to like rob banks and stuff, and this guy like lives in like a cartoon, and so these actual like Bugs Bunny things are happening. And then Dean makes a comment like, well, it's Wabbit season, and then Castiel the angel, who takes everything literally because he has no pop culture knowledge, goes, I don't think you're pronouncing that word correctly.
I have a speech impediment, man.
She sends me that meme. She's like, this is the episode I just watched. So so I don't want to ruin it for a lot of people who are still enjoying it. I still highly recommend watching the show. When the show ended, I then went back to previous of my favorite episodes and rewatched them. And my husband's like, I thought you finished the show. He needs to mind his damn business because I'm going to rewatch the whole goddamn thing.
I might watch it eventually. I think I've watched like one episode, but maybe eventually I'll get to there.
Well, he even said to me, he's like, I thought it was like a teeny bopper show. And then I started to explain, I'm like, there's a scene. So. Well, okay, so there's a scene where there's like a group of hunters. That's what they call people who hunt monsters, hunters. And they're sitting there, and this waitress comes over, and she's kind of hitting on this Angel Castiel. And then they ask her, hey, what time or when do you get off? And her response is, whenever I can.
What?
And they all go, oh, and she said that in front of all of us. So yeah, it's not just for teenagers, kids.
I don't know, because
so I don't love it.
Know what to do.
There were more things I wanted to happen that didn't happen, and I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know if they just wanted to mess with us at the end because the 2 episodes before gave us hope.
I'm blaming COVID. I've never watched the show, but I'm blaming it because it's ruined everybody's lives.
I would have rather waited 5 years for those last 2 episodes than have what had happened.
Yeah, more patience.
So let's move along. What have you watched or read this week?
Well, that's hard to follow up. I haven't watched any soul-crushing season series ending things, but I watched Cobra Kai. I don't know if I've talked about it last week, but I watched the first 2 seasons, binged it in a couple days while working. That's what your tax dollars go to. Really good show. Really.
No, we're going to do that in January.
We are. So we're going to have a whole episode before season 3 airs on Netflix about Cobra Kai, Karate Kid. Really great show. Really, really great. I loved it. Ralph Macchio kind of is the dickhead. I'm here for it. Alternate realities or just anything. I like it. Mandalorian, of course, because I am so ungodly excited that Dave Filoni directs the next episode or chapter.
And people are losing their minds over a certain animated character.
We will talk about this animated character here probably at the end. We won't spoil anything yet.
If we have time. We have a lot of Doctor Who Christmas
We
news.
do, but I'm going to make some time for this one for sure. Like I said, I've watched Marvel 616. So like the Japanese version of Spider-Man was great, which I didn't realize that's how Transformers came from, because there was like a robotic Spider-Man, and that they wanted to make that American series, and then that turned into
that one the one Transformer from the Japanese Spider-Man. I'm like,
yeah.
What? He looks so familiar.
Well, that's exactly. So Marvel 616, if you haven't seen it, it's a documentary series on like kind of the unknowns of the Marvel universe. The first episode is on Japanese Spider-Man. Yep, on Disney Plus. Second episode goes into diversity. Third episode, it goes in, I think, more like diversity. Like there's a Hispanic comic book series.
Yeah, we can go more into that next week, but all the episodes are on there now. They didn't release them week to week. And we had mentioned that a while ago because they go into the Miss Marvel background and how she originated.
Yeah, that's right. So check out Marvel 616. We're going to do an episode on it here coming soon once we knock out all of our Christmas stuff. I've watched Doctor Who, of course. And then, so I read a few things. I do like to have my comics, like you had mentioned off air. We kind of let our comics build up. I was kind of catching up on some things. I caught Marvel Snapshots, which this is issue 1. It's got Iron Man on the front. It's by Kessel, Johnson, Palmer, and Charla. I can't pronounce his last name. Holy shit. Chara Lampidis. Basically all it is like you're seeing the Avengers stories, but from normal, ordinary people's perspectives. So they kind of run into the Avengers during like a crisis event, and they're meeting each other, but they're also telling stories of how they met the Avengers for the first time. Really good. I like it because you're kind of seeing things from normal people's perspectives, like you or I, who may not have powers. Well, we don't because this is the real world, but
just speak for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, maybe when that COVID vaccine comes out, I get superpowers, but I won't hold my breath.
Yeah, that's what you'll get.
Yeah. I might get something, but it's not superpowers. But yeah, just normal people kind of looking on the Avengers and like these big beings. So that's great. Doctor Who is a comic again. I can remember reading some before. This one is by Jodie Hauser, Roberta Ingranata, Enrica, and Aaron Anganoli. Oh man, I am so sorry I'm butchering names. However, if you're watching on YouTube, it's got Jodie Whittaker and David Tennant as the doctors, and it's an alien invasion. It picks up where a previous comic must have left off because the 13th and 10th Doctor had partnered up. And it's got some characters that you may love in here. I'm not going to spoil it, but the TARDIS is in it. Spoiler alert: the TARDIS is in it. But yeah, so great comic, alien invasion, and then last but not simply not least is I read the Marvels The Symbiote Spider-Man. This cover is really cool. There's kind of a shine on it if you're watching on YouTube, but it's an all black cover. It just has a symbiote, whatever. Spider-Man up top.
Symbiote.
Issue 1. Basically, I'm not going to spoil it. However, Spider-Man has the Venom suit that we kind of all know and love, but he doesn't know it yet. And he kind of, there's some life altering things going on and universe altering potentially as well. But it's a really good, really good comic book. And I can't wait for more issues to come out. This is like a big one that just recently came out. And then Hallmark Christmas movies. Hello, Hallmark Christmas movies.
Well, I did watch a lot of Doctor Who Christmas. I just kind of had it playing the last few days.
Well, yes, but at night when I'm hanging out with the wife, we throw on, the Hallmark Christmas movies because we make fun of. They're stress-free, of course, and we've been decorating for Christmas. I say we have been decorating, but it was literally just today we started decorating. So,
see, my husband likes forensic file murdery stuff, and I like superhero, like sci-fi. So.
No, my wife.
So he falls asleep, and then
I will say my wife listens to like all the murder podcasts and things like that, and I'm like, okay, she's gonna murder me.
He's not a podcast person, but he watches all the forensic. And yeah, of course we make jokes.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, he loves the forensic files, and I Shouldn't Be Alive. He likes that.
Oh, I like that show. I Shouldn't Be Alive. That's really great because it's like these crazy stories of people who should not be alive. I don't know. It's great.
Okay.
Before we go into our breaking news, you might have caught on a previous episode, we did a big, massive Super Hop Smackdown with the Hop Heroes podcast. They're doing terrific things, great things over there. Really enjoy their podcast, and they're really great dudes too. So
you hear us reference them a lot when I'll even mention, I learned this from Hop Heroes.
Yes, you hear us mention them a lot. So we're going to throw in a little promo. This is our first big promo for the show, if you will. So enjoy.
Hey everyone, I'm J.R. Gonzalez, and I'm a comic book artist.
And I'm Zach Barlow, and I'm a published author and facial hair enthusiast.
And I'm Jordan Erith, and I have a drinking problem? Wait, why does the script say I have a drinking problem?
And together, we make the Hop Heroes podcast, a show where we drink delicious craft beers and discuss the happenings of the comic book universe.
You can find us on all podcast platforms every Wednesday, and at Hop Heroes Pod on Instagram and Twitter for daily updates and news.
Time out, you guys. I'm serious. You guys really think I have a problem?
Follow us along our drunken journey into the depths of the comic book world.
Guys.
Cheers.
All right, we got some news. We have some news. I have some news. You have some news. You have more news than I do this week.
Who's got the news? You got the news.
If you come here for news, you've come to the right place. Well, probably not, because you probably listen to more biggerist like Kevin Smith. But however, we have some news. First of all, a new Predator film is in the works. I love Get to the Chopper. I love the Predator series. I don't know how you feel about them.
I don't think I've seen any.
Are you kidding me right now?
Have you seen The Ref yet?
Are you kidding me right now? Predator is more mainstream than The Ref.
Oh, but The Ref should be.
If you're listening to this and you think that Predator is more mainstream than The Ref, you let us know, because it's.
You are any of my friends, and you know The Ref is more important than The Predator.
No. All right. Anyways, Dan Trachtenberg, he directed episode 1 of The Boys, and he directed Cloverfield Lane. He is
Josh has
slated.
been watching that actually.
Cloverfield. See, the first Cloverfield was great. Back when we're gonna date ourselves for these young hip kids, but MySpace, when that was a thing, they had like this really clever marketing thing on MySpace for Cloverfield. And it's like shot documentary style. So like you're following them through on the camera, and there's like some monster coming. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic movie.
Like Blair
Cloverfield.
Witch Project?
Yes, but think big kaiju monster, kind of like a Godzilla if it was shot in documentary style. Um, really good movie though. Cloverfield Lane had John Goodman in it and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I'm pretty sure it was. I could be wrong, but yeah, she's in it as well, and it kind of takes place in this universe. And another really good movie. I think there was one more in between. I don't remember it. There might have been. I think there was. I kind of remember it maybe. Anyways, regardless, he directed episode 1 of The Boys and then Cloverfield Lane. So he's going to be directing this new Predator film. I think Dutch, which if you've never seen Predator, Dutch is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He might be taking place in this movie. I hope he does. I think they're going to do what every other new movie's doing these days, whereas they start off like you have the first movie and then it skips everything else, which would be kind of a disappointment because Danny Glover was fantastic in Predator 2. But yeah, they're just going to go straight from one, like Halloween did, straight from one into this new series and kind of reboot it a little, which is okay with me because Predator versus Aliens, the last Predators, if the last Predators had like Adrian Brody and pretty much like the Predators came to Earth, brought this super suit, and were like, I'm going to cure global warming. And then, no joke, I'm pretty sure that the key to curing global warming was like this kid who had autism. And so they were like, you're the key to it all. And it wasn't good. It was directed by Shane Black, who it was in like From Dusk Till Dawn. He's in a bunch of other things, but it was not a good movie. So I'm hoping this one does. We are a nerd podcast, and so here we talk about geeky stuff. My apologies. And Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be filming soon. James Gunn has the script. Nothing's changed, but the working title is going to be Hot Christmas. And how can it not be? There's a Bowflex.
I like how you said that. Hot Christmas.
It's Hot Christmas. How can it not be?
An adult theater near
Chris
you.
Pratt. Chris Hemsworth. Oh my God. Have you seen Chris Hemsworth's arms? He's working out for the Hulk, the Hulk. Jesus. The Hulkamania Hulk Hogan movie. No, but his arms are freaking massive these days. He's working out for the Hulk Hogan movies he's doing. And listen here, brother. He put out
I knew it was coming.
He had an Instagram post, brother, that he was cheat daying, brother, with a donut. But the donut was a giant fucking tire that he was flipping, and his arms are bigger than my head.
My gosh.
That man is just ungodly huge. And
have you heard the
now a Chris Hemsworth podcast? I'm
okay with that. Have you heard the interviews with like Tom Hiddleston? Like he actually auditioned for Thor, and he said he was happy he didn't get it when they just saw them dumping another like not raw chicken, but like unflavored chicken down Chris Hemsworth's throat because he had to eat all this protein and like he's like it looks terrible.
Like, so when Hugh Jackman was filming Wolverine movies, I think he was filming other stuff, but like he had somebody whose sole job was to bring him food like every 2 to 4 hours. And he would have to wake up in the middle of the night and shovel down like 3 fucking rotisserie chickens, a pot of rice. And it's just like, oh my God.
Liv Schreiber or Liv Schreiber, when they were, shooting Wolverine Origins, he made a comment about like, his sheer discipline to like diet and working out and just like filming stuff.
You're making bank, but like I don't know, that's kind of crazy.
It's intense. Yeah, well, it's better than whatever the hell Christian Bale's doing.
Hey, you leave that man alone. First of all,
I'm gonna leave him alone because he gets so frail, and then and
then he gets jacked for Batman. Then he gets put in the middle of a hole in the middle of the desert and makes it to Gotham in seemingly 12 hours.
Did you see the movie though, where he was like
the machinist,
like real thin? Like, is that what it was? Where
I'm
he
pretty sure is the machinist.
He basically killed somebody.
Yeah, he was like this frail, like it looked bad, and then that was right before he started bulking up for Batman. So it's insane.
I don't know why they just didn't CGI. Maybe it was before Captain America.
And then he did Dick Cheney and all that, where he got really fat. So yeah, Christian Bale, hats off to you, sir.
Didn't Tom Hanks give himself like diabetes from doing that shit?
Yeah, I
though?
think it was Tom Hanks or somebody. There was an actor who like literally gave themselves diabetes just from like the ups and downs so much.
Right.
And,
This is all
Jared,
speculation. This is not
well,
our confirmed news.
Jared
But you can
Leto
still
is
call us
another
out.
person who does like the whatever you want to call it. I'm blanking right now, but he gets really into
Sends
it.
dead animals to people.
Yeah. So hey, you know what? There it works. You know what else
Okay.
works is Saturday Night Live, and I haven't watched Saturday Night Live recently, but Kristen Wiig is set to host on December 19th. And that's because a few days later, approximately 6 days to be exact, Wonder Woman 84, we talked about last week, is releasing in your home and in theaters. However, places like Germany's theaters are not open, so you can watch on HBO Max for free with a subscription to HBO
Well,
Max.
It's not free, but
Well, it's free.
it's not like Disney Plus where you got to pay the additional $30.
No, you don't. You don't pay anything at all. You just HBO Max. You get that
We
subscription.
had to pay for HBO Max. Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever you want to do. So
There's
I'm
no
gonna
such
go
thing
ahead.
as a free lunch, kids.
Nothing is free in this world, especially in the US of A, baby.
I learned that in my business school.
Christmas Eve, I'm going to be subscribing to HBO Max just for Wonder Woman.
I'm going to be looking for Santa Claus on Christmas Eve.
Well, as I'm watching Wonder Woman 84 and Santa brings his big self down my pretend chimney, I hope he wants to sit
now
there.
Now we're
and
going
eat some
back to the
cookies.
adult theater, kids.
Would
with
he
some
like
hot
to-
Christmas?
Listen here, Santa. You want to cuddle up on the couch? You want to watch
down your chimney?
some Wonder Woman 84 and go down in this chimney?
No. Oh no! Well, I heard there was a lot of snow in the 80s.
Oh wow!
Or was that
Carrie
just Miami?
Fisher. Oh no!
Oh, too soon.
Shout out Carrie Fisher. But
All
yeah,
right.
so Kristen Wiig, she's going to host it in honor of Wonder Woman 84. What do you have? There's some news. There's some big news.
News. Ahsoka.
Well, it's not big news because
Am I saying that right? Ahsoka.
Ahsoka Tano.
Ahsoka Tano was mentioned in a recent Mando episode. Rosario Dawson will be playing her.
We
I was
knew
very
this.
excited about
This
that.
is all old news. We knew this though.
I didn't know that.
What?
Deadpool 3 is moving forward with Disney. If this will connect to the MCU, we don't know yet, but Ryan Reynolds will be starring
It would
and
be
producing.
Foolish not to.
And we have faith in him.
Oh,
Stranger Things has
Ryan
begun
Reynolds
filming.
can just like, oh my God, that man
We're
can.
going back to adult theater.
Yeah, we're going back for a second because Ryan Reynolds can literally have my entire whatever he wants
Chimney.
is his. That man. Yes, Ryan
So
Reynolds.
hurry down his chimney tonight.
What's up, baby?
Okay, so Stranger Things has begun filming season 4 with all the beloved stars. A new face, though, will be there, and that is Freddy Krueger.
Yes,
Krueger.
Robert Englund.
The original actor will be playing a murderer in a psychiatric hospital. And since the show takes place in the 80s, it seems that they just keep going with more 80s nostalgia. So, psychiatric hospital.
I'm surprised they haven't filmed
we see
it
what you're
already
doing.
yet, though, because I fully expected it to be releasing in like December or January, but I guess you're right. Oh God.
I don't know. Yeah, it has been a while since we had the last one. So more pictures have surfaced from the not the Game of Thrones, Guardians of the Galaxy ride coming to Epcot.
Ooh.
So the ride is going to be called Cosmic Rewind, and it's an omni coaster, which means it's on a track, but it will actually spin because the whole premise of the ride is it's storytelling. So they're going to spin you in the direction that they want you to see.
Holy God, we're all gonna throw up.
Like Baby Groot.
or baby
or like Baby Yoda, the child as well. So it's going to basically move along the story. There are also speakers in each of the vehicles, and so we've been told there will be awesome music in there, but they have not said what will be in there yet. And for anybody who's been to Epcot in the past, which I'm sure probably all of you have, the Universe of Energy. Okay, so the building that has Universe of Energy, where like Ellen and Bill Nye the Science Guy, and I don't remember who it was back in the day, but I remember being terrified of the dinosaurs. So that huge building that you're like stuck in there for like 20 minutes and you can't escape.
Yes.
So that's the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, but they've also built a bigger building next to it that's connected. So the whole thing is.
What?
Oh, you didn't know this? Okay, I'm going to text you a picture.
Some of us don't get to go
post-
to Disney every second of every day.
I have not been to Disney in a month
Oh
because
no.
of COVID.
Oh no.
We are off quarantine this week, and I will be there next week. But I will post it on the story so you can actually see the difference, or you can actually see, because as you're in the parking lot, you can see the huge new building, and they've painted it like light blue. Like sometimes it blends into the sky. I don't know if they're going to do anything else at the outside, but you can actually see pictures now online of the actual vehicles. And it doesn't even matter if you're in the front, back, or sides, because how it spins at any given point, you're going to be in the front.
I love
So,
spinning rides, so I'm
yeah.
for it.
I'm hoping it is nothing like that terrible dinosaur ride at Animal Kingdom that spins and is on a track, because that is terrible.
You need to actually look for the Starbucks mugs while you're there that are the Hoth, Bespin, and Dagobah.
I didn't see those I mean, I have all 4 park mugs, but I haven't seen those. I'll
Really?
keep my
Well, they're new, but they're sold out online.
Right. I have the original ones. Next time I go, I'll look, because I want to go to Hollywood Studios next month, because Hollywood Studios, even though they got rid of the Osborne lights, which is the best part of Hollywood Studios at Christmas time, they still do a great job at Christmas. I love Hollywood Studios at Christmas.
God. Well, I'm coming next year, COVID or not. I'm there.
Do it. And live on location will be Hops Geek News. Okay, so I have more
We're gonna
news.
be wasted at Epcot.
Okay, Ready Player. If anybody has read, okay, so Ready Player One was an amazing book. I read that shit in 2 fucking days. It
Haven't
was
read
so
the
good.
book, but the movie
The
was great.
movie is not as good as the book. The book was phenomenal. It was so much better than the movie. There were times when I was watching the movie where I was like, well, if somebody hasn't read the book, they can't fully appreciate the scene. So I don't think the scene is that good if you don't have the background information of the book and they didn't give it to you. It's one of those movies. Ready Player 2 came out by this point it'll be out for a week.
It's
Yeah,
in the
it came
book.
out on November 24th. I literally have my Amazon card open because I'm going to order it. I hate ordering hardbacks, but I'm going to do it because I want to read it.
Really? I prefer the hardbacks.
I prefer paperback, maybe because I beat the shit out of them and like to bring them to the beach and carry them around. So I don't like.
So
them
you want
heavy.
your books to be ratted and paper, like torn apart?
Hell yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
So I'm very excited about that. Marvel 616 we already mentioned.
Yes.
And beer news. This is just silly. You know, we're Hops Geek News, so we got to throw some hops in there. So there's this new thing called the Super Schooner. It is designed to help you to easily carry 4 beer glasses at once. It's basically 4 glasses that when you combine them, they look like a Hefeweizen glass that has like the figure. This was developed in Australia to help people. Everybody's like, a bartender should know how to carry these glasses. I think it's for when you go up there and order 4 beers for your friends. Then
or myself.
Right. Yeah. You, me, the person who does not have experience with not dropping all these beers can carry it all there. And Sunday, November 29th, which will technically be yesterday if you're watching this right away, is Support Small Brewery Day. So I don't really know why I added that because it's technically
support small brewery.
But do that anyway next
if you're
Sunday.
in the Boise
whenever
area,
you're listening,
go to like
this.
Woodland Empire, who are a recent guest. They have a bottle shop. Get to them. They have some really Ada County stouts. There are like some special editions of that coming out. Western Collective, another past guest of the Hops News. Anywhere, just if you're in whatever country, whatever place, go to support a small business. Big business doesn't need our bailouts because that's what apparently
Rock Pit.
Yes.
Sideward.
Anywhere, just get to some smaller breweries, some smaller businesses, especially times like this where they have to close. Get to those places and don't be disappointed. Carry it.
Shall we go to our woo?
Oh yeah. So if you're watching YouTube, I'm looking like a police box because I have my signed David Tennant hockey jersey on right now. Fun fact.
I just have a TARDIS scarf on.
I was dating my wife at the time. She lived in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Thought you were going to say dating David Tennant.
Oh, no. I do have a fun story. The day my son was conceived, I know this because we were long distance at the time, was the day I met David Tennant. So thanks, David. This is a shout out to David Tennant for conceiving my child, I guess. I don't know.
What?
Yes. So my wife, she was in Raleigh. We went to the Raleigh Comic-Con that day. I paid like $400 to get a meet and greet with David Tennant. It was just assigned. You had to like put on a sticky note what you wanted him to write. And so I put to Matt Alonze. and it's on the back of this jersey, which I'll post on our Instagram. And so nicest dude ever on earth, right? I'm getting up there. I'm like, oh, hey, can I take a selfie with you? He goes, well, technically you're not allowed to. And I posted this on our Instagram too. So if this sounds familiar, that's why. He's like, technically you're not allowed to. They're going to yell at me. But if I happen to just look up when you're taking the picture, well, then it's not my. So I quickly was like, snapped a selfie, but I got most of my face in it, and you barely see any of David Tennant in it. And it was awful. It was terrible. But
I think it's great because it looks like he's holding a ninja star.
Yeah, those are like the fun stories you have from these kind of things, right? Where like I tried and it was terrible, not good, but I have this nice signed jersey. And so I have a bunch of Funko Pops. Like Doctor Who is something that we are all about in this household, and the 10th Doctor is my favorite, as he is a lot of people's.
It's my favorite too, yeah.
My wife's is actually the 9th Doctor, Christopher Eccleston.
He's underrated. He is so underrated.
I would love to have seen more than one season if he didn't hate it so much. He didn't like being the Doctor.
Right.
He's a great actor. I would have loved to see more than just one season because there was a lot of potential. He's that like snarky, sarcastic without being.
Yes, he's sassy. He's the sassy Doctor.
Yeah, he's just like naturally sassy. And so I have the Funko Pop here of him holding the banana. If anybody has watched Doctor Who.
You always bring a banana if anybody's watched this on YouTube in our intro. My daughter couldn't find her sonic screwdriver, which I'm holding right now that day. So I used a banana because you always bring a banana to a party.
You do. I'm sad I don't have mine on me. I have David Tennant's sonic screwdriver, of course.
I think this is 11.
Yeah, that's Matt Smith's. Okay. But yeah, so Doctor Who, I'm all sort of like, we're decked out because this is a Doctor Who Christmas special episode.
But my Doctor Who origin story is actually kind of funny. So I went to MegaCon the same year you were there, and we did not know each other. We were there together, but we didn't know. The Comic-Con in Orlando. So I went with my friend Ian, who we've gone a few years together, and we don't bring my daughter, but my daughter comes with. So we went to go see John Barrowman. He and I had only known John Barrowman from Arrow. So we're like, oh, this is a bad guy. Yeah. He's Malcolm Merlyn. And we're like, why is Malcolm Merlyn getting this huge stadium seating when Cisco's in this tiny room? We didn't understand. So we are in there and Kaylee's sitting between us. And at one point we look at each other and we're like, should she be in here? Because she was probably like 12 at the time.
I was going to say, it's 2015. So yeah.
It was 5 years ago. Yeah. So she was 12. Or maybe even 11 because it was before her birthday. And because he was saying things off the wall. And like, it was hilarious. And we then learned that he was part of Doctor Who and Torchwood. And then I ended up I actually watched Torchwood before I watched Doctor Who.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's its own show.
Right. But it was so funny because John Barrowman is absolutely hilarious. Like somebody asked who his favorite princess was. And he's like, who has a red wig? And he puts this red wig on and he starts singing Ariel. And I didn't even know that the guy was gay. Not only that he was this hilariously amazing, like gay dude. And we just thought because he even makes homophobic comments in Arrow. And he actually has said that those comments were very hard for him to make. And so we had only, Ian and I had only viewed him as this character. It was really funny. Like on our way home, we stopped at, we had some friends in town. So we stopped at a Disney hotel and we got some beers and we were hanging out and we start talking about John Barrowman and we're like, oh, apparently, he's gay and he posts these amazing pictures of him and his husband and somebody's like, well, do you guys follow him? And Ian goes, well, I do now. And the way it just came across, it was freaking hilarious because everyone's like, oh my gosh, Ian's poor wife, she's always the last to know. But it was really funny. And then like we both instantly watched Torchwood, which Torchwood's a little off the wall.
Well, yeah,
but it's good. And then we got into Doctor Who. And then when I started watching Doctor Who, my mom's like, oh my gosh, you're watching Doctor Who? Your grandmother watched Doctor Who in the 60s. And I was like, and she's like, and I watch it. And I was like, I did not know any of this. It was so like embedded in our family. I had no clue.
Yeah. I mean, cause I didn't realize at first when I started watching it, that it was like an old, like the show started in the 60s. And so when we pick back up in 2005, we're on the 9th Doctor. My wife, she was at a Comic-Con because her brother-in-law like owns a comic book shop. So he goes to all of them. So she just happened to be at one and she sent me a picture. She's like, I think I know who this guy is. And she was standing next to John Barrowman. I'm like, why aren't you meeting this, like talking to this man right now? But Yeah, he's such an electric, and that's where I first started watching him in Arrow before I watched Doctor Who, and so I only knew him as the Dark Arrow.
Right, Malcolm Merlin. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you meet him in Doctor Who, and he's in Torchwood, all that, and he's coming back, isn't he? Coming back?
Yes. He's in one of the Jodie Whittaker episodes.
Yeah.
And he's in the upcoming Christmas one. So I was going to save that for later, but in the words of River
Oh my god, I have
Song,
such a big mouth. I'm so
spoilers.
sorry. Yes.
But no, but a few years later, the last MegaCon we were able to go to, I guess it was 2019. So I had paid for my daughter and I to go up and take a picture with John Barrowman, and Ian was going to take it. Again, it's the same guy years later. And Barrowman's like, no, I prefer to take it. So he takes the picture of my daughter and I, and then he tells Ian, come get in it. And he's like, I didn't pay. And he goes, come get in it. And
Man,
so
I
he
love-
pulled Ian over and took another one. So he just seems like a genuinely nice guy who loves just
yeah.
well, that same year though, we took one with Tennant, and my daughter was dressed as 11. She had the fez and the bow tie
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. And I had the TARDIS dress, and she goes to David Tennant, and she's like, can you hold my screwdriver? And he goes, brilliant. And he instantly crouches down. So in the picture, I'm like quickly crouching down as well. And you're paying like $100.
Oh
for these
yeah, you're
frickin'
paying out
pictures.
the ass for these
Right.
pictures, but they make them fun.
They
And
do.
I think that's what when I met David Tennant, he was just such a the nice guy. He didn't have to. He could have been an asshole and be like, "No pictures allowed. Sign my jersey and go." He could have been like,
Sign
"No,
my jersey.
I'm not high. I'm not taking this. I'm not holding this stupid thing with you." And he doesn't have to do Comic Cons, but the
Right.
fact that they and John Barrowman, like he didn't have to have Ian come into the and that kind of goes
You're
back.
saying, Ian. One day you two are going to meet.
We're
'cause
gonna
you're both
meet,
military.
yes. One day we will
And,
meet.
yeah.
We follow each other on the IG. I don't know. We're getting closer.
I'm going to
but,
make sure Ian watches this one.
Yeah. So he didn't have to, pull him into the picture. And that's kind of like with Cobra Kai, both actors, my friend, when we were there that year, he got a picture with them and they pulled me into the picture. And I was like, I didn't pay. I was just going to take the picture, but the same thing. They were super nice. So it's always nice when actors do that. And
Yeah, I love MegaCon
They're people
weekends.
too. And
spend so
Comic
much money.
Cons, I miss Comic Cons. I sincerely miss Comic Cons. They're so much fun to go to. So I
And
was
that's-
this past year in Boston. They were gonna have like Ewan McGregor. You were gonna have Hayden
Ooh.
Christensen. You were gonna have like a
Ooh.
ton of amazing guests. And
what is Hayden Christensen doing these days?
he
Does
owns a
just, like,
farm
go
in
to-
Canada.
Oh, okay,
No,
that
no
sounds
joke.
about
Like
right.
he just owns a farm in Canada with his
He
wife.
milk cows with like the kid from Charlie and the Chocolate
I don't
Factory.
know, but I mean, he's starting to make Star Wars appearances again, which is good because he got so
Alright.
much hate. But anyways, we're here for Doctor Who, right?
And we need to move
And,
on. It's going to be a
so
2-hour
Doctor Who came
special.
out in 1963, and then it ran until 1989, in which there was this massive break. You had the first 8 Doctors. They regenerate every once in a while, whether they start to die or they just naturally start to regenerate. And then it picks back up in 2005 with Christopher Eccleston is the 9th Doctor. And
He's also the main troll in Dark World.
he's in Thor: Dark World. He's in a lot of movies. He's a really great actor. And so at the end of his run, he only does one season.
He never got a Christmas
regenerates.
special.
He does not get a Christmas special. He regenerates, and David Tennant becomes the new Doctor. Which, if you also know David Tennant, you know him from Harry Potter. He played Barty Crouch's son.
That
He's
gross thing.
Jessica. He's in Jessica Jones. He's Kilgrave. He's in the
Purple
Amazon
Man.
show where like they're the gods. I can't remember the name of it now, but
Oh,
He's
with-
like a-
he's Crowley.
yes.
The
He's
Good Omens.
Good Omens. That's what he's in a bunch. He's
Amazing show.
amazing at anything that he's in. And so you kind of
And
get.
he's in Broadchurch, and it's him and the 13th Doctor.
I heard Broadchurch was amazing.
I
It's
didn't
like
watch
a-
all of it.
it's
My
like a
daughter
murder
did, but the ones I
mystery,
saw was
from
good.
what I know.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Uh,
like the detective, and Jodie
Yep.
Whittaker is like somebody who lives in the town. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
But so we get introduced to David Tennant. He's brand new. He spends most of this episode knocked out of sleep because he's regenerating back when they actually pretended doctors took a lot of energy to regenerate. So yeah,
Those are
he's
just Rose and Mickey carrying him around, and they're all
Yeah.
laughing.
he's running around in PJs. The Sycorax are trying to enslave the earth. He can't save anybody. Oh no. So this has like Santa
Dun,
Claus,
dun,
Christmas
dun.
trees, it's killer Christmas trees.
This is
isn't
the one
it?
where the tree starts spinning in Rose's mom's
Oh yeah,
apartment.
yeah. So like
And
you got
she's like,
killer
we can't
Christmas
leave him.
trees. So yeah, like it's gonna be great because he's such a fun character, and this was amazing episode.
Yeah, and I knew I was gonna love 10 the second he started quoting the Lion King. He said, well, the day I arrived on this planet, or what did he say? Was it the day I arrived on this planet and blinking step into the sun? And he's like, no, that was the Lion King.
And he's always like, he's that fun, bubbly, sarcastic. And so that's kind of our introduction, I should say, to David Tennant's Doctor. And he stays for a few years. So 2006, he has Rose and Mickey. They are companions for a while. Then we have Martha in between. And then we go to Donna and 2006. So we have the Runaway Bride. It starts with Donna teleporting from her wedding. Then she's in the TARDIS in space. And
they both start with the what?
Yes.
What?
So a lot of people didn't like Donna, I think, because she was like older. She wasn't your traditional.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I could be just misremembering, but Catherine Tate.
Who wouldn't like Donna?
She was so you
also
wrote
from
here,
The Office.
Yeah, is she?
Yeah, she's from The Office.
Huh.
We actually saw her at MegaCon, and there were people that were there just to see her from The Office. What? You haven't seen The Office?
I'm not a big Office fan. Oh God, here comes the hate. If people listened, I'm not an Office fan. I don't mind it.
It's happening. It's happening.
I don't. The more I watch it
fantastic.
now, the more I'm like, oh, this is a decent show. But yeah, I never got into it initially.
Yeah,
it's going off of Netflix December 31st, by the way.
Ooh.
So it'll be on Peacock, whatever the fuck Peacock is. I have no idea. But
well, and apparently 90210 is coming back on there. No, Saved by the Bell is coming back on the Peacock as well.
They all look weird.
So
it's
wrong.
Creepy. Very creepy.
The Office, though, Steve Carell brought back That's What She Said, or he made That's What She Said famous. Really?
I was in high school. Maybe.
You did not know he brought back That's What She Said?
Look,
or made That's What She Said famous?
You've never seen Predator, so call it even.
You've never seen The Ref.
You've never seen
my Christmas tree with a crowbar.
That sounds aggressive. Mine's fake. Yours is real. It has feelings.
Mine is real, and it's gorgeous, and I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, I don't have a real one. I'm always very terrified of fires. But
well, then mine smells better than yours.
Well, anyways.
That's what she said.
You're going to get creepy Santas, which came back in this episode. Well, they're going to come back and haunt your life. There's a huge spider lady as well. Again, they're like in that fire area, and, they're fighting the giant spider lady. Catherine Tate was supposed to be a intern. I can't pronounce this word either. I've been drinking too much. She's supposed to be a
intermediary companion.
Yes. She was not supposed to be full time because they didn't want to replace Rose right away, but everybody loved her. And so she came back
later.
Yay. And,
but Russell T Davies, who is my mom's favorite writer, he had always wanted to see the TARDIS chase a vehicle. So they actually made that happen in this. And that's the one where Donna, open the door, because she's stuck in the vehicle. So basically she's been, I don't want to spoil anything because I feel like what we do on here should make people want to watch it if they haven't watched it. And if they have watched it, it should bring back a sense of nostalgia. Oh my gosh, yeah, that was fun.
I know
there's a few things we will intentionally spoil.
Right. I mean, if we're going to spoil something, we'll let you know. And I mean, with Doctor Who, it gets like kind of a bad rap because like Whovians, they call them, they can be like a vicious fan base. So can Star Wars.
I like the super Wholocks. That's Supernatural, Whovians, and Sherlock.
If you Sherlock was great for a little bit, but if you just go and watch Doctor Who and don't pay attention to any of the fandom stuff because fandoms ruin everything, just enjoy Doctor Who because it's so cheesy. My brother just started watching it after all this time of me telling him, and he enjoyed it. And
okay, so the first episode of Doctor Who with the Ninth Doctor, it took me multiple times trying to watch the first episode because I just felt like this wasn't for me.
Well, they had the creepiest episode on.
Was the mannequins? Yeah.
No, It was. Are you my mummy?
No, that wasn't the first one. It was the mannequins.
Well, I know it wasn't the first episode, but like his doctor, Christopher Eccleston, had the creepiest episode of all the episodes other than Blink.
Oh, I love Blink. That's one of my favorites. So the episode, though, when 10 put the gas mask on and he said, "Are you my mummy?" Apparently that was ad-libbed.
I mean, I would too. Naturally, when you put a creepy gas
Right.
mask on, you're going to say, "Are you my mummy?" I do it all the time with
But the
my gas
very
mask.
first episode in 2005 was the mannequins,
It was
and
so
I
cheesy.
watched it at least 3 times. It was on Netflix then, and I was like, I can't do this. This is so stupid.
Yes, it used to
This
be on
is I
Netflix and then
can't.
Amazon Prime. Yes,
Right,
and then
because I
they
watched
got rid of
Torchwood
it.
on Netflix, and I like Torchwood. And then I was like, okay, I like Torchwood. I'm gonna go watch Who. And I did. It took me a lot to get through the first episode. Once I got through the first, I did fall in love with the characters, and I fell in love with the stories, and the stories got much better. Yeah, as Elaine would say, yada yada yada. Still watching
Yeah,
it.
so
Okay, Voyage
I
of the
loved
Damned.
it. Yes, Voyage of the
2007.
Damned actually is kind of a riff off of Titanic. It starts off with the Titanic spaceship. It's running into the TARDIS because somehow they run into a tiny space box in the middle of space. The biggest thing that your
Like an
mind,
iceberg. So the
yeah.
TARDIS was an iceberg.
Um, they're heading to Earth. Yeah, the last survivor of the Titanic was not a fan of this episode because they felt it was making light of what happened with the real Titanic.
And
Well,
now
guess
I'm gonna bring
what?
it back around to Supernatural. Clearly, the survivor does not watch Supernatural because there was actually an angel in Supernatural who unsunk the Titanic, and bad things were happening to the ancestors of the surviving Titanic people that should not have survived. And when they found out the only thing these people have in common was they had ancestors who were on the Titanic, and that led them back to, I believe it was Balthazar. And they're like, what happened? He was, well, I unsucked the Titanic. What's the Titanic? It's the ship. But he unsunk it because he didn't like the song. And they said, what song? He goes, exactly.
Dang. Well, see, I guess you gotta watch
See?
Supernatural.
That
It all comes
show
back
is
around. They all tie in
amazing.
together. Yeah. So
Supernatural's only paying me $10 an episode to say all this.
you're getting paid?
Yeah. I'm getting
Apparently,
paid the big
though,
bucks.
the guy who we know as Donna's grandfather, which everybody has seen the meme of the old Santa Claus looking guy crying. God, that scene gets me all the time. But that he's a newspaper guy in this. Which, if we want to do another callback, oh my gosh, the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi, is in the Pompeii episode of
Mhm.
Doctor Who. So they'll kind of like BBC, the old joke is in England, they have the same 5 actors playing
Oh, yeah,
everybody.
Amelia's in one of the older ones too.
Yes.
And the guy, what is it? Sherlock's older brother is in one of the Christmas specials, and he's in
Yeah.
another episode as well.
Well,
okay.
yes. And then actually, here we come full circle again in a roundabout way. 2008, we have The Next Doctor, which is when the Doctor meets the man who played the governor from The Walking Dead. So if you're a Walking Dead
David
fan,
Morrissey.
yes, David Morrissey, you remember him? He is in this episode where he thinks he's the Doctor. He clearly just has memory loss. And then so the David Tennant thinks he's actually a future him. Well, it's not. And then there's Cybermen involved. And yeah, so that was another great episode. I do remember him because I was watching Walking Dead at the time and I was like, oh, it's the guy.
Yeah.
And
Right. And he comes across as like nice, and he's
he's so
says he's
different.
you're like, don't trust him.
He's not trustworthy. And here it is. He just has amnesia.
What's funny though, in the comics, he looks nothing like David Morrissey. He has like
Not
a
at all.
long ponytail, and then he comes back and he's like, oh my God, it's so different in the comics. Like he actually raped Michonne in the comics.
That's
and then,
right. I do remember all this.
I remember
Yes.
thinking that and being
It
like,
was a
I feel
dark
like that would
comic
never
running for Walking Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, that would never happen in the show.
No.
But then he was like they had cut off one of his arms and one of his legs, and then he came back again, and oh my gosh.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Comic is so good.
The original plan for this was to have J.K. Rowling appear as herself in a world that is controlled by her imagination. If we're looking at current present day J.K. Rowling and her Twitter, that's probably not a good thing. However,
So I learned that fun fact in a YouTube video, and the guy ends it with, well, that didn't age well.
it definitely didn't because yeah, J.K. Rowling, go ahead and look at what the whole Twitter beef with her was, because it was
It's such a shame. Watch Saturday Night Live. Pete Davidson
That too.
sums it up.
Which she had a great idea. I love Harry Potter. We'll just leave it at that.
Say my daughter said she doesn't, the only Harry Potter stuff she wants for Christmas is stuff that is from like Etsy.
Okay, I respect that. I love the movies. I love the books. Anything
I don't
after
love any of
that
them,
whole
I'm
series,
sorry.
eh.
I like the Wizarding
Harry
World
Potter
of Harry
makes me
Potter.
oh god, I fucking love that. I have Sirius Black's wand, the interactive one. I love Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Harry Potter to me signifies Christmas. I love Harry Potter. My son is now watching
She
Harry
is.
Potter.
Luna,
Oh, she's Luna Lovegood. No way.
she does.
Well, when we do a Harry Potter episode, which we're
And it's
eventually going to do,
My
she's
daughter
come-
will be a stand-in.
Yes. Well,
And
she's
when
going
we
to
do
be
a
co-hosting with
supernatural
us.
one, Matt's wife will be a stand-in.
Yes, if you can get her, because she doesn't like any of this. Not the podcast. She doesn't like talking. Like she doesn't. It's hard to explain. I'm not saying she doesn't like what we do.
She
I'm
might
just
not
saying,
like being
yeah,
recorded.
that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yes.
And being on camera.
Matt's been trying to get her many times, and it's just not working.
I'm just trying to get her on camera. Look, bills don't pay themselves.
No,
So
I understand.
anyways, 2009, we have the end of time. It's a 2 parts. We get the ood, which are the little squid
With, like,
orb
the
holding
intestines
people.
coming out of their
Yes, they
face.
talk through the ood. Or
But we also get the
orb.
master.
We do get the master.
I feel like we
Um,
both need to like go close to the camera and laugh.
Yes, the master. We
I
get, like,
love the master. Every
8 different
form
versions of the
I love,
master.
except for
I
the
feel like they
little ones.
overdid the master to a point, but the initial run of the master was fantastic. Holy shit, it was great.
So was Missy though.
Well, Missy was okay. Yeah, Missy was okay. Yes, but then I
No,
think
Missy was fantastic. I loved Missy.
she's in Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. By the way, she plays a bad guy, kind of good guy slash a teacher. She's in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Missy is. Yeah. Anyways, take it away.
All right. So fun facts. When 10 is so we're going to refer to the doctors by their number. So
Oh,
when
yeah,
10
10.
is attached to a dolly and he's pushed down the stairs, a lot of a very good dummy because Tennant had actually just recently had back surgery due to an injury on Hamlet. And it's funny because I rewatched the episode after reading that yesterday, and you can see they're pushing him down the stairs and they're doing close-ups on him, and then you can actually see like the dummy kind of going down.
I'm gonna have to go
Remember when he's
rewatch
like,
that. Yeah.
unbuckle me or get me out of this, and they're like, we don't have time. Yeah. And so when I was watching Doom Patrol, which Matt had mentioned this summer and we talked about it, it was driving me nuts. I could not figure out where I knew Niles Calder from, because if somebody's been in one random episode, it's not that easy to figure out what you know them from.
Yes.
He's a freaking Time Lord, and he's in this episode.
Wait, is he?
What? Yes.
Wait, he's like one of the
Yes.
older. He's the.
Yeah. He's
Oh,
the main
him?
older dude.
That's
That's,
right.
like, now we need to channel this into the master so we can harness his
Oh,
location.
my God, yeah, you're totally right.
So I was glad I finally put that together. There's another episode, Mysterio. I put together another character that I always love going back and watching. And you see that a lot with shows like, Friends and Seinfeld. You go
Yeah.
back and you're like, oh my gosh, this is this person. So I just have basically had Christmas Who specials running the last few days in my house. And
Huh.
it's like, I'll look over and I'll be like, that's who that person is. I knew them. So if you notice the Time Lords, though, this is a big fan theory, and my mom is like adamant that this is accurate. The Weeping Angels, I love the Weeping Angels. Blink is one of my favorite episodes.
Oh God, I love that episode.
And the one with River Song and the Angels, I mean, it's like a freaking
Yes.
horror movie. There are theories that they are actually Time Lords, and that's why they send you back to the past, because they're feeding off your time energy. And if you notice in this episode, 2 of the women in the background, when Niles Calder, or the main Time Lord in this scene, is talking, they're like this with their hands over their eyes like weeping angels. And the only time you see them move that is the one lady who keeps appearing to Donna's grandfather. And I don't know if she's the 10th daughter, or if she's the doctor's mother, some significant relationship, because she keeps looking at him and crying. But you just see them with their hands over their eyes. And Doctor Who, I just feel like the writers love to fuck with us because they won't confirm things. They just put these things out there that just seem so accurate. And we need to keep going because there's more shit like this where they just fuck with us. Okay, so Christmas Carol. We're now on to Matt Smith. So we're on.
His doctor took a little getting used to. I love Amy Pond and love
Really?
Roar. I actually feel as though his doctor had the last decent companions with Rory.
Amelia and Rory are amazing.
Yes,
and
they
shout
were
out
like
to
my
Nebula.
Yes, she is also in Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers.
And you can tell when she's wearing a wig after she had to shave her head for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Can you?
Oh, you totally can tell.
I had never paid attention.
So I remember watching this before Gar came out and thinking that looks like a wig. And then she comes out and I didn't even know she was Nebula at first because it looks nothing like her. And then when I later found out she shaved her head for the role, I was like, when they did like reshoots, it's like it's not whole episodes, but you can actually see scenes where she's clear. Like sometimes wigs are incredibly just obvious.
Well, I mean, it's a lower budget show, so sure.
But even a good wig, well, I don't really know much about wigs. The only time I wear wigs on
I don't
is on
either.
Halloween, and I end up ripping them off. I tried to be Jean Grey one year. Oh, it's too hot.
I had no idea. But
So-
they were like my last favorite companions.
They were amazing. I agree.
But yeah, this is the Ghost of Christmas Past. We have fish swimming in fog. There's flying sharks that are pulling them in a wagon. Goes back to when the old man was a child, and every Christmas they wake up a frozen woman. Ooh.
Wee-oo.
No.
Well, and the old dude is Dumbledore.
Yes, it is Dumbledore, and this is the first Christmas special not on or near Earth. And it also doesn't have someone die. So they decided to lighten things up a bit, I guess, huh?
Kudos to you, BBC.
Yay.
Because the whole premise is this ship that Rory and Amy are on is heading towards this planet and only one person can stop it. So the doctor does a whole Ghost of Christmas Past, Future, and Present to try to stop it. But it's funny because it follows the episode of Rory and Amy's honeymoon.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Which also means probably the conception of a little
River.
something. Spoiler.
River Through the Woods. Yeah, and then we have the 2011, The Doctor, the Widow in the Wardrobe. A woman helps the doctor to repay the favor. He is a caretaker at a house they're staying at, and kids get lost in his gift, which is another dimension. Wood people looked like Groot's long lost family. Yeah,
but they have wooden eyes. I like that you're just reading what I wrote there.
I am. I'm totally reading what you wrote right here. Androzani Major is the wood place.
Androzani Major is the wood place in which this episode takes place when they crawl through the present into this other dimension. And it is actually the same place that the fifth Doctor died.
Dang.
And of course regenerated. So it was a throwback to which, of course, many of us would not have realized. So it was a nice little nod, obviously, to Lion, the Witch in the Wardrobe. Multiple
Great
references.
Book, awful movie.
Right, multiple references to that book throughout the whole episode. So if you're a fan of that, you can find many little Easter eggs in there for that. That episode was nice, but I feel like it was one of the more completely standalone episodes.
Yeah, it like a lot of these in the middle kind of came and went. Some are memorable, some are less so. Like the next one, this kind of goes into the next group of companions, and Clara
wasn't in the 2012 The Snowman. It takes place in the 1890s, and Clara's in it, but she's not an actual companion.
No, she's not. She wants him to help. He doesn't know her yet. Yeah, so on the first episode, you see someone outside the TARDIS go into the TARDIS. It's all one shot, and then the snowmen, they kept coming out. You wrote too adorable.
Oh yes, so the snowmen, they were designing them, and they kept coming out too adorable. So they kept having to make the snowmen meaner and meaner and meaner. Adorable might have been my own word. I think it was cute or something.
Well, yeah, but Clara is in this, like, again, because BBC uses the same 5 actors. Yeah, another kind of forgettable episode there. I don't really think we have too much more to say about that, do we?
Right.
2013.
Time of the Doctor.
Time of the Doctor is another kind of good one. So 11 gets super old. And then at the end, he regenerates and turns into Capaldi. And this one's kind of a more somber, sorrow one. And he's just like...
Well, he thought he was legit dying because the Doctor should only get that many regenerations.
Well, he was at the end of his regenerations.
Yeah.
But plot dictates otherwise, and also popularity of the show.
And the Gallifreyans.
So they're at the town of Christmas. You have Daleks, you have Cybermen, you have angels.
Time out. In the show, they said, how can you call a town Christmas or whatever? About 10 miles that way from me, there's a town called Christmas, and
It's in
people
Florida. It doesn't
actually
count.
people actually will mail their Christmas cards from Christmas, so the postmark says Christmas.
I'm going to do that
Yes.
this year. Give me an address. I want to
And they
send my
keep-
Christmas cards.
Just send them to me, and I'll just drop them off there.
Oh,
And
well,
they
no, I'm sending you a
actually-
Christmas card with.
No, send me
anyways,
a
but-
box of your Christmas cards with just stamps on them, and then I will drop them off there. But they actually keep Christmas lights up all year. There's like
What?
it's very trailer parky though. They have a whole trailer
Okay.
park. It says Christmas
love
Park,
it.
and it's written in Christmas, and it has like a Christmas tree on it.
Santa lives in a trailer park on his off time.
Well, in Florida.
Santa goes to Florida to the trailer park in his off time.
So I had that on last night. We were watching it. I'm like, of course, there's a fucking town called Christmas, Clara. Jesus.
Yeah.
All right,
So
moving along.
the fan theory is that Clara's grandmother is Amelia.
Because if you go
Right.
back to, remember, she keeps going back. So the doctor's supposed to pretend to be her boyfriend at Christmas dinner.
Yes.
So they're going back and forth in the TARDIS to this land of Christmas. That who would name a town Christmas? And
Floridians, I guess.
we'll name shit anything.
Yeah.
Ekonlakahatchee is a real thing here.
True.
So in that though, the grandmother has a ring that is the same as Amelia's. And then she makes a comment about the Christmas crackers, which if anybody doesn't know what Christmas crackers are, those are the little things that sometimes Pier 1 sells that you pull apart and there's random crap in it, like those crowns. And they
I
are,
have no idea.
you don't know what I'm talking about? They're in all the Who specials, a lot of them. They
I've
pull
never
them
had
apart.
Christmas crackers. No.
My mom has actually bought them before. So they're like filled with air and they kind of look like I don't know, like a Tootsie Roll. But you pull it apart and it pops, and then there's like a paper crown in there or a teeny tiny toy. And I guess sometimes they have jokes, and sometimes they apparently have poems. So the grandmother, Clara's grandmother, was like, "Oh, is there a joke?" And they're like, "Oh, they're not jokes, they're poems." And then when she brings a Christmas cracker to 11, who's super old now, he's like, "Oh, what's the joke? I like the joke." But it was mainly the ring, but also that I feel like kind of tied, like there's a resemblance between these two older characters. But again, the Who characters won't give a shit. They just fuck with us.
That's very true.
Let's
very
go
true.
on to 2015. Oh, wait, no, last Christmas.
We're in 2014. Excuse you. First of all.
Sorry.
Clara
Last
catches
Christmas.
Santa in this one, okay?
This is what the aliens that attach to your face.
Yeah, that was creepy. If any Aliens fans are out there, Sigourney Weaver. This kind of
Best line of
reminds me
the
of
show.
it. Yeah.
Okay. So the best line of this whole show, we won't go into detail about this. It's kind of a standalone one. They're talking about movies, and we're on to 12. So Capaldi goes, "There's a horror movie called Alien? That's really offensive. No wonder everyone keeps invading you."
Yes.
Beautiful. Capaldi, not my favorite doctor, but he's got some good lines.
Yeah, I wasn't too fond of him. He comes around near the end, but he wasn't my favorite. He was not my favorite by any means. He just kind of came and went. I felt like his seasons kind of drag on, but he's still decent nonetheless. There are some shining moments.
Yeah. Good one-liners. So the husbands of River Song. The doctor hates carolers and fake reindeer antlers.
What a Grinch.
He really does. So this is obviously an episode with River Song, and she meets him, but she doesn't know he's a doctor because she knows the rules that he can't regenerate again. So these are obviously the 13 faces of the doctor because he has an original. And Capaldi's kind of fucking with her the whole time because he knows he's the doctor. But they do a little this and that and this and that. So River says that the 12th Doctor reminds her of her second wife, which actually fans think that when she references that could actually be Jodie Whittaker. Who knows? Time will tell. It could be fun. And without spoiling the whole episode, I will say if you've seen...
I didn't know this part. I
found
honestly
this
had no
out today
idea. No, yeah.
So the first time we're introduced to River Song is with David Tennant, but David Tennant doesn't know who she is. And then she whispers into his ear what his name is, and he's like, the only way you could know my name is if you're my wife. And then he does a whole thing to kind of, save her. It's an amazing episode.
It
which
really
also
is. Yeah,
like-
it sounds it's not Silence at the Library, but
Yeah.
she's fantastic, and she's in a bunch of other things too.
Yeah, she is. So when the doctor in this episode, he gives River a sonic screwdriver and he turns it on, he waves it in her general direction. And he's not just doing this as like a simple playful act. He's doing this to scan her soul to make sure it will be stored in the device to make sure that 10 is able to save her in the library's computer during silence in the library. So it basically creates a time loop of predestination paradox.
Oh yeah.
And only the 12th Doctor would know to do that because he has the memories of 10.
I had no idea. Look at
That
that.
is
They had to close previous loops because sometimes they get too smart for their own good. Stephen Moffat.
Bittersweet episode, though, because, they want to go to the Singing Towers and they're just going to spend one night in the Singing Towers.
Oh,
Is one night in the Singing Towers is a lot longer than you might think. And then
Yes.
it's also referenced in the next Christmas special, Dr.
which
Mysterio.
is Return of Dr. Mysterio.
So
Okay.
this was another one. Haha, I know that guy. If anybody who watches Shameless, Steve Jimmy is the superhero in this. He is Grant. I was about to say Grant Gustin.
I was
That's not
thinking
right.
that too. That's the Flash. Wait a second.
Right. Grant Gordon. But yeah, so in this episode, the doctor ends up falling. I don't want to reveal too much. I was a little disappointed with this. I remember watching it live, and I guess I was expecting more from it.
It was just kind of a come and go.
Yeah, but it's one of those, if you pay more attention to certain things, you might enjoy them more.
Yeah.
So the doctor, the funniest part is the very beginning, and the doctor's in this kid's room, and he's looking at this Superman comic, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, if you look really close, you'll notice that this guy, Clark Kent, without the glasses on, is Superman." And of course, the kid knows that. And then he's like, "Why do they call this guy Spider-Man? Do they not like him?" And he's like, "No, they call him that because he got bit by a radioactive spider." Well, did he die of radiation? So then, let's see. So Mr. Brock in the show, he refers some of the reporters to a pair of employees, and they're called Schuster and Siegel. And Jerry Siegel and Joe Schuster are actually the creators of Superman. So they were really kind of
Ooh.
channeling some of that superhero stuff. And you even got, like I said before, Grant Gordon and his love interest is Lucy Lombard. So they're going all with the alliterations, Lois Lane, Peter Parker, all that crap. And then his name, the superhero in this episode is called the Ghost. And it's a nod to the comic strip superhero, the Phantom. And in this comic strip, the Phantom is called the Ghost Who Walks. But I thought it was funny they called him Mysterio. Mysterio is bad.
Yeah, Mysterio's a bad guy. He's a Spider-Man bad guy.
And in Old Man Logan, I mean, he's a bad guy in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But then this leads us to, this one might be the most emotional one for me anyways. I found this to be the most emotional one, which is Twice Upon a Time. It's where the first Doctor and the 12th Doctor kind of meet. The first Doctor didn't know what the sonic screwdriver was. He also didn't know what the TARDIS was. He just called it a spaceship. And then neither one refused to regenerate, or they both refused to regenerate. Sorry. They both were dying though. And then it takes place during World War I, Christmas Day, which, if you know, is the only time during any sort of crazy war that on Christmas Day, both sides kind of got together. They played soccer, they sang Christmas carols, and it was kind of like an armistice of sorts. And they were just human beings celebrating Christmas together from different sides of the trenches.
I think they called it the Holiday Arms.
Yeah, there's a movie where I can't remember the name now that I watched, and it was basically they played soccer. It was all about this whole thing. Really good. And
Yeah, it's based on real events.
yeah, they were like, why are we fighting each other? Nobody really knows. But nobody knows how the Christmas songs began. But they basically, France, Belgium, all the armies in World War I that had been fighting, they all kind of like came together for one night, one day. And so they took a break, celebrated together. They realized they were human beings, but then the next day they had to go back to killing each other, which is pretty depressing. And so you kind of have like a guy this I'm not going to spoil too much, but it sets the scene where you have a British soldier and a German soldier, guns pointing at each other, and they're staring each other down. One of them has to die, so they think, and then it goes into like this time loop of the 12th and first Doctor, and there's like the 12th Doctor's companions regenerating as like a robot, and really good episode. But
And kudos to the guy who played the first Doctor. Looked very much so like him, kept the mannerisms.
yeah,
And you may know him from Game of Thrones and Harry Potter.
Walder Frey.
He was Walder Frey, and what was his name in Harry Potter?
Oh,
He was
Mr.
like the
Filch.
custodian. or
Yeah,
something,
he was the groundskeeper, Filch.
So you don't like him in either of those.
No, but he plays he's kind of an asshole, but so the Doctor kind of can be, especially in times like this. And so yeah, he neither one, they both were stubborn.
But it was very interesting to see him in this because as the first Doctor, the Doctor we know is very open-minded. He has no prejudices towards anybody. And then this first Doctor comes in, which is his past self, and he's incredibly sexist.
Oh yeah, he is.
And 12 just seems so embarrassed, and like, Billy's there, and he's like, "Oh, the Doctor missed you so much. You can tell by how filthy his TARDIS or his spaceship is." And it's like, she's like, "What?"
Like,
and he just kept shutting him up. It was hilarious. But yeah,
it's a really an emotional episode. It kind of all about moving on, whether it's in life, things like that. So it's a really great episode. Highly recommend.
And you get a little bit of a nod to the 60s sexist.
You do. You kind of get the flashback to old doctors, right?
But you forget that this Doctor ever existed in a misogynistic, racist kind of world, because we just picture him as this overall encompassing, loving person, right?
But that's the way it was. We get a year break. We go into 2019's resolution. It's New Year's, not Christmas. There's like an old Dalek, and to keep its appearance a secret and to avoid any leaks, the Dalek was given the codename Kevin. Kevin!
There you go. Maybe that's why because it was the Christmas one, sort of. That one's creepy though, because you see the Dalek as like a squid octopus kind of thing.
Yeah,
she says it's because
there's an alien inside the Dalek,
right? But even in Twice Upon a Time, they see the Daleks, and somebody's like, "What are those?" And then the first Doctor is like, "Oh, because you see pieces of the machine, but it's really the dead squid." A lot of the Daleks are in a lot of the Christmas episodes. Even Mysterio, there's Daleks.
I will say the Daleks appear more than probably any other, quote unquote bad guy. But there's always depth to them, though. They're not just these like little Roombas of death, basically, is what I call them. They're basically a Roomba of death, but no, they're really good. So they kind of appear in that one. And then 2020, there's Spyfall, which is the Master's back. Oh God, another body. No way.
I didn't even know that was the holiday one. And I was watching it last night with my daughter and like fell asleep. And then I was looking at this right before we aired. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't.
Oh God.
But I didn't even know it was the holiday one. We were just playing catch up because we just ordered HBO Max.
And there's the Master's back. Traveling
so you're
through time.
Tell us more about
that. So the Master's back in a new body, traveling through time. Actually travels through light, people. So like they travel through light, right? I guess I don't remember this one all of a sudden.
Okay, I was hoping you would because I haven't finished the episode.
No, for some reason I'm blanking on this episode. So spoiler alert, neither of us really know what's going on.
Basically, I was surprised to see the Master back though, because the last we saw the Master was as Missy.
Yes.
And we thought she was actually dead. Ha ha ha.
Never dies. I'm the Master.
Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, let's leave it at that because we don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't do any
neither of us really know what's going on. And then we have a new one coming up, which is with Jodie Whittaker's Revolution of the Daleks. It's one last piece of news of the night. Hoppy writes, Captain Jack Harkness is going to be in this episode. Yes, it's a revolution. The Daleks are revolting. It airs on New Year's Day. BBC America. Of course, they just recently started filming the Doctor Who latest series, so it's pretty exciting.
Ooh, Ooh, very nice. So yeah, and I have to say one of my favorite parts of all of the Christmas specials was when the doctor referred to Santa as Jeff. He's like, "Oh, Santa, I just know him as Jeff."
Yeah, God, I love especially the 10th Doctor, of course, because I'm such a slut for the 10th Doctor.
I
But
am
he
too.
he does the Christmas the best, I feel like, because this is before the writers, whoever, really kind of try to outsmart themselves, because I feel like that's what they started to do with 11 and into part of 12s, and then they kind of got back on track, and then because they switched writers and
Right.
everything like that. But there's a lot of heart in there's Christmas episodes. So I really enjoyed the earlier ones. And there's also the ones that just, I have fond memories every time I think of David Tennant and his
Right.
doctor, because there's a lot of good things, going on in that time period. So that is our Doctor Who.
Right. And I'm going to give
Next.
a nod though to like you were saying with the Tenant episodes. You even see in like Voyage of the Damned, which is like their third one,
Yeah.
where everybody they're like, "Where is everybody?" Oh, well, the last 2 years we had alien invasions on Christmas, so they're
Yeah.
all hiding. So, and even in our Hops news tonight, I'm like, Mash says, "Oh, well, the season's not over," and I'm like, "It's Christmas time." And you and my mom were like, "Have you not seen Doctor Who? Shit can still hit the
Yeah,
fan."
exactly. Doctor Who's just one of
So
the, I feel like if you haven't watched it or you've only delved a little bit into it, it's a lot of fun.
mhm.
Some things are more
It's a
difficult.
lot.
It's one of those series that you can just pick up from anywhere. You don't have to watch it in a row. It's great, but you don't have to watch it in a row. And that's the beauty of Doctor Who, is you can pick it up anytime, anywhere. They just travel
Yeah.
through space and time. And that's where
Right.
you can
You may
pick it up at.
appreciate it more if you've seen them all, but you can still enjoy it if you haven't.
Yeah, a lot of them, like, there's an overarching story, but at the same time, not as much. It's like a lot of loosely episodic type things, and so
Yeah.
it's just a great series. I highly recommend watching. Next week we're gonna do Star Wars Christmas specials, which
So I gotta watch the old one.
the really creepy old one, and then we have the Lego ones, of course.
Wait, Lego ones plural?
No, there's only the one. There
Okay.
might be more than one. I could be mistaken.
You're gonna have to let me know because I only know the one
But
from
we have the most recent
2020.
one that just came out on Disney Plus, and then we have
Okay.
the tried to forget
Boba
about but
Fett.
not forgotten, where Boba
All
Fett
right.
was introduced. That one. Um,
I gotta watch that one.
However, I will say Mandalorian so far. We're gonna go into a little spoilers real quick. I'm spoiling because I want to talk about
So
it
if
real
you
quick.
haven't seen it,
Yeah, if you haven't seen
in
it,
the words
goodbye.
of Mary
Come back.
from Hocus Pocus, bye bye.
Yes. So this next episode, we're gonna get Ahsoka Tano. It's directed by Dave Filoni, who actually introduced Ahsoka Tano into the Clone Wars movie, and she stuck around. She's Anakin's Padawan. We didn't know, and if you're only a movie follower, you didn't realize Anakin had a Padawan. Well, Ahsoka
Yeah, I watched the
was.
first episode and I
Oh my God! Watch the Clone Wars. Ahsoka Tano is she's an.
tried.
No, you have to.
When
You
does it
have
get better though? Because the beginning is not
so
good.
go through. You can look up a certain order to watch them in, and it'll all make sense. But trust me, Clone Wars, stick with it. It's amazing. Ahsoka gets kicked out of the Jedi Order by Mace Windu because he thinks that she committed this crime that she didn't commit. He doesn't believe her. She clears her name, but she's basically like, "Fuck the Jedi Order. This is what you think of me. Screw this. I'm out." So she leaves. Well, they recently came out with the finalized season 7 of Clone Wars, and it's taking place during the same time that episode 3 is taking place. And so her and one of the clones, she fights Maul. They're on Mandalore. They capture Maul. The clones, they execute Order 66, and she's like, "Oh God," she doesn't know what's happening. Rex, who look up Rex, he kind of pops up like in the episode 6. He's gonna pop up more, I guess. And the actor who plays the original, Jango Fett, he's Boba Fett in The Mandalorian. Well, he's like, "I don't know what's happening." Escape. She teams up with Darth Maul. They escape. Rex comes to it. They have chips. The clones have chips inhibited in them, which makes them execute Order 66 and all that, which we can do a whole episode on, because I could talk for days on this. I could run you through the whole entire thing. But yeah, she's going to be played by Rosario Dawson. she's the first Jedi to walk away. She kind of self-aware. In Star Wars Rebels, she fights Darth Vader. She knocks part of his mask off, and that's when she realizes it's Anakin Skywalker, her old master. She had
But
no
she didn't
idea.
know?
No, she had no idea. And then she's at like the end of Rebels. She kind of goes off the grid. She's still alive. So you're going to meet up with her in this next episode of Mandalorian, where in this past one oh God, why am I forgetting what happened in this most recent episode of The Mandalorian?
Are you thinking of this one or the one before?
The most recent episode, he was basically like, no, I got someplace to be, because they go and find the Imperial base and they're cloning. I think they're trying to
Wasn't
make
the one before this one the one where they had mentioned Ahsoka?
Well, yes. So episode 3 was of this
This
season.
one was like they
go find Carl Weathers.
Two of the original characters.
Yeah, Carl Weathers
Baby Yoda
and
went to
Gina.
school.
Baby Yoda goes to school. They go and they like have to knock out this Imperial base, which is on the same planet, to make the whole planet safe. And turns out they're cloning. And if you've watched, the guy whose hologram pops up, he is in Rogue One as the pilot that they find, the Imperial pilot who turns onto their side. And so he's basically like, we got the blood. And at the end, you see Moff Gideon. He's standing there with all these, like, I don't know if they're supposed to be like Darth Vader clones or what they are, but I think they're trying to like make Inquisitors, which pop in the Clone Wars. They're kind of like, they have force powers. They work under Darth Vader. They're force sensitive. So I don't know if they're trying to like clone the force kind of deal and get like a Sith army again, but that's kind of what they're leaning towards. So Mando's going to go find Ahsoka, and I think Ahsoka is going to lead us towards Ezra, which if you've watched Star Wars Rebels, you have Ezra Miller, and it's just we're going to have to do a whole episode because there's a lot to unpack here.
You're going to have to tell me exactly what to watch because I've only seen the movies. I tried to watch the cartoon.
The cartoon's great.
Beginning's not, though.
So, yeah. We'll have a whole episode. We'll probably do a season 2 recap of Mandalorian. Go watch it. It ends December 18th, I think, is the finale. So, maybe after that, we're going to go ahead and go through it.
We have too many good Christmas stuff. I think we got like the Star Wars, and then we got Die Hard.
Next week we have Star Wars. The week after we're gonna have Die Hard, and so pretty much the new year. So once the new year kind of rolls around, we're gonna talk Cobra Kai. We're gonna talk probably Star Wars, and go from there. If you're looking for us, Hops Geek News on Instagram, search Hops News on all your podcast streaming sites. That's how you're gonna find us.
And go order Ready Player 2.
Go order Ready Player 2. And that's basically all we got. So thanks for joining us. Another fun-filled, long episode. I appreciate it. And like, subscribe, share us. That's how we grow. And happy Thanksgiving. It's going to be past Thanksgiving when you hear this, but nonetheless.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Cheers. Let's get in the spirit. Love
Hello,
you.
sweetie.
This has been a Hops News production. You can find Hops News on all your favorite podcasts and social media platforms at Hops News. Cheers.